Hello, and welcome to another Daily American Republic podcast. I'm Ethan Hollins, and as you can clearly tell, I'm not Prince Wright. So luckily for us, though, we do have Prince Wright as our guest today. Prince is leaving us for the sunny, beautiful beaches of Florida, and of course, family, and a greater calling back home. Prince, welcome, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, I would say round two. Yeah, round two. Our recording equipment has made sure that me and Prince have not said goodbye yet.
Yes, it can happen.
Is it still feeling weird over there on that side?
Kind of no, because I kind of know what's coming.
A little more comfortable?
Unless you flip everything. I'm like, oh no.
Right, yeah. Okay, so we'll just knock out the first elephant in the room. Where are you going? What's next for Prince Wright?
Oh, yes. So this part feels good again because it's like, I'm going back home to Florida.
Yeah.
I always tell people, I think a lot of times in our generation, we're very me generation.
Yeah.
And there's this thing where it's like, go live your dreams and don't worry about your family. And I do get living your dreams. But I've come to a place in my life now at the age of 28 where I'm like, my mom deserves my presence in her life while she's still young and mobile and can do things.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going home to be with mom and family. But when I say family, I don't just mean blood family, right? I have friends with my best friends, Jean Pedro, Pastor Daniel, and Jonathan. I get to be with these guys again and just do life. Yeah. And so I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, just get to be home.
Yes.
I completely relate to you. I don't know how you've been away from your mom for so long. It would kill me.
Purpose driven.
So, yeah.
I was always purpose driven.
Yeah. I would say it's I definitely get the call back home. That's understandable.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to cover your how you've kind of like stepped into journalism here in Poplar Bluff. If I'm remembering right, this is your first foray into journalism.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Can you kind of go like into how that happened? Like, because I know that you obviously an entire career in ministry. You'd mentioned that you'd been a GM at a restaurant in St. Louis. You get to Poplar Bluff, and then suddenly you're covering the biggest stories in town. How did that come about?
Man, I always tell people there is no such thing as being self-made.
Right.
I don't care if you're a billionaire or if you own a little pizza shop on the corner. You got there because someone helped you get there.
Right.
Right. This life is all about one thing, and that's people.
Yep. Can't do it alone.
Can't do it alone. And so when I moved, I knew about Poplar Bluff because I'd come here when I was on a national tour with Eddie James, and I got to preach for Bishop Ron Webb. And so I knew about this area. And about 2 years ago, I kind of just stepped out of what I was doing and decided I wanted to just do something slower. Ended up living here in Poplar Bluff, but then I thought, that's a little too slow.
Yeah.
Went to St. Louis for a bit. Long story short, came back and was looking for a job. And every time I gave my resume, the people were amazed by what I've done. They're like, man, you've lived so many lives.
Yeah.
However, you're overqualified. And I'm like, I'm willing to work. What does that mean?
Right, exactly.
And so one day I was in a car with Bishop. We were driving, I don't know the name of the main road here, the main street here. Driving down the street here, and Bishop was driving, and it was just him and I in the car, and I said, I called him Dad. I said, hey, Dad, I said, I really can't find a job here. He said, you're good at PR stuff. You're good at, talking. You'd be a great reporter. And really, to tell you the truth, both him and I didn't think that I would even come in as a reporter. He said, you can work for the DAR and maybe one day work your way up.
Right, exactly.
To a reporter, And I'm thinking, no, that'd be cool. And so he said, I have a friend here in town named Robbie Myers, who is a friend of both of ours now. And he said, Robbie can maybe get you a job in that area. I remember he called Robbie, had me say hello. And Robbie said, well, the DAR is looking for somebody. And I remember the next day, I think it was. And at this time, your boss, Heather, was on our honeymoon in Hawaii.
Yes.
Yep. So I couldn't meet immediately, and I was like out looking for a job every day from 8 to 5. I was out there.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in being lazy, right? If you don't have a job,
You need to be looking for one.
Look for one. Don't sleep all day long, right?
Right.
I'll do that when I retire in Sicily one day.
Yeah.
But no, I came in for an interview and I was supposed to get a sales position. We came in at the same time.
Yeah.
I just remember looking at you and thinking, who's this tall guy?
Yeah, because we were quietly filling out our applications across
We're
the
sitting
table.
this close to each other, and we never said anything
Right,
to each
yeah.
other.
So-
And but I ended up getting hired as a reporter, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's been kind of a wild ride for you, going from obviously like covering stories here in Poplar Bluff, making connections, building relationships, and then us just kind of organically kind of talking with everybody like, hey, I think the DAR probably needs some kind of like podcast format where we can interview some of the most prolific people in town and kind of educate people on how Poplar Bluff itself works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like I always tell people, so one thing I get to do back home, I did a little bit when I was there before, but I'll do a lot more now. I live within the Brazilian community.
Yeah.
And I actually spent some time in Brazil. And one thing in Brazil that's really big is surfing.
Oh, okay.
And when you're surfing, the goal is to not try to beat the wave, it's to catch it and let the wave carry you.
Yep.
That's the same thing with life. And when it comes to the paper, my mindset was if you don't move with the wave, you get left behind.
Yeah.
And I think we have, for 165 years we've been here, we've released some amazing articles. You can go through the office right now, look at papers as far as back as 100, 18
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
It's so cool.
Yeah, you can't see it right now, but behind us are literally piles
of it.
Poplar Bluff history.
I mean, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
And I get to touch things. I'm like, sometimes I'll touch it. I'm like, well, back then I would have been the help. I'm sorry. So anyways, but we did paper for a long time, but now young people just aren't going to the boxes and dropping a quarter and getting a newspaper.
Yeah.
You're right. We needed to do something that would make sure the DAR stayed relevant.
Yeah.
And you and I got together. We just both put our heads together, a podcast, and come to find out, they had talked about it before, but had no one to do it. I said, hey, I'll do it.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't even ask for an extra salary,
Yeah.
But we were passionate about it.
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing, it's growing. I think our TikTok is growing.
It is. It's at a quick pace.
A quick pace, and you're killing it. And so to even have that, even at 1,000 followers for the DAR TikTok, that's a big deal because the main customer base of the DAR is not on TikTok.
Right.
But we're growing there.
Yep.
So
Yeah, no, we're trying to build awareness. Like I said, crazy ride that it's been.
By the way, we started in like this little room.
Yeah, in the public library.
In the public library, not the main branch.
Right, yeah.
And I just remember like 8 of us, I think it was.
It was 8 people.
Trying to fit in this little room. And it just was like, what in the heck are we doing?
Yeah.
But look at us now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited, and like I said, I've got some big shoes to fill with you leaving. So
I wear size 9.5. They're not that big.
Well, it's metaphorically big metaphorical shoes. So like I said, this is I kind of want to do like a deep dive and try to figure out what it is to like actually be in local journalism.
Okay.
Can you kind of give me like a rundown or expand on what does just a standard day for a local journalist look like?
You told me because you never know.
Yeah.
Right. So I think when was that? Like, was it last Friday? I don't know when it was. There was a huge fire.
Last Friday.
I'm at
Vansville
home.
Apartments.
I'm at home. I have my routine. I usually get up around 6:10.
Yeah.
Get things moving around the house. And I'd happened to text Donna that day for something. And he just said, oh, hey, I need you to go ahead and run by the office. There's a huge fire. Now I'm thinking like a little house fire.
Right.
Right? I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, sure. And I'm coming up and traffic is backed up.
Yep.
And you know me. By the way, I love my DAR badge.
Yeah.
My DAR badge and my hazard lights have become like I'm the police, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I break the law.
Weight, yeah.
It carries some weight, dude. And I saw that traffic backed up all the way down that old road. I put on my hazards and I rolled the side of the road all the way up, right? And then I went right through the cones. But I realized there was this massive fire.
Yeah.
And that, but being a journalist, you're in the community, you're getting to know people, and you really have the opportunity to bring what you've already built prior to your role here. And for me, that is community organizing. That is working with governmental officials to make things happen. And so myself, along with, the gentleman from the radio station, we were able to make sure the first responders were fed for that entire day, not just breakfast, but breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because everyone was out there trying to stop this fire. So you never know what a day is going to look like when you come in. Now, what you can expect is Donna's going to send out an email to the DAR newsroom. That's the email that we all share. Yeah. And on that email is going to be, kind of like a layout of what is due on that day, because we will write something today because it's going to go out in print tomorrow. Right. And it has to be done at a certain time. Other than that, you never really know what's going to happen. As a matter of fact, Ms. Barb, who's a legend, has been here for 54 years, her and Ms. Sherry, they have these loud emergency radios. Yep. Because that's their focus. Right. And they hear things going on, and something's popping off, they're out the office. Yep. So, I say I am a cop without a badge. However, that's going to change. Right. You know?
That's like because you're moving on to pursue your law enforcement dreams. Yeah. So for any, young aspiring journalists that might be coming up, that might, see this podcast, what does the toughest part of being a local journalist look like? What is that for you?
Get rid of your ego. Like, you have no opinion. Yep. When you become a journalist, it's almost like you're a scribe. You're having to write history, and the only thing that will be known in 100 years is they won't necessarily hear your voice, but they'll see your name attached to it.
You're a witness to it all.
You're a witness to it all. And so you have no opinion, and that's the hardest part about it, because you want to put your opinion in there, you want to say what you want to say, but then that gets in the way of the story. Right.
You got to remove yourself from it. Yeah. Remove your opinion and just lay out facts. Yeah. What happened?
I feel like I've been, I feel like I've kind of walked in similar shoes as the disciples did when they were following Christ. Yeah. They each had their own accounts, but they had to write what they saw. Right. The only difference is they wrote what they saw. I have to just write what I hear. Right, exactly. Plus, so it's interesting. So,
yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, even on the inverse of that question, what would you say the best part of getting to be a local journalist is?
You're in it. You're just in the middle of everything. Yeah. And you're welcomed into, you're welcomed into spaces that the average individual just can't get into. Right. I can go to anyone's office, to any governmental building, and show that badge, and they're like, "Oh yeah, come on in." Yeah.
It comes with some perks, and
it does, and that's why you have to. One thing I've always done whenever I first started introducing myself to people who didn't know me as a journalist, yeah, I would say, first, I want you to know that my name is Prince Wright. Yeah. I said, I want you to know that first, I'm a man of God. So I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have integrity. Yeah. I said, I'm going to write exactly what you say. So watch what you say. Right. I would even go as far as, like, when the person would go off the record talking and wouldn't say off the record, because I'm a reporter that really cares about integrity. Yeah. I'm not going to stay quiet and not tell you that you have to, and not tell you that you need to say off the record. Yeah. Some people may take that news and that tea, as they call it, and write about that. Yeah. And there's nothing that you can do because you didn't say off the record. Right, yeah. Right? Which would be a cool podcast name, Off the Record. Yeah.
You're supposed to say over.
And so, yes, I get to do those things. Do you want to kind of hear, like, when I've worked with law enforcement, or is that something you want to ask me later?
Oh, well, we're actually about to roll into that here in just a little bit.
Okay, cool.
You're absolutely right. You get to be a part of, like, the town's history. Like, 100 years from now, like, somebody's going to be, like, looking through the Poplar Bluff archives, and they're going to see an article written by Prince Wright.
Man, it's people don't understand the gravity of that. Yeah. My friend, I have a friend, I won't say his name for safety reasons, but he's a special agent for the Attorney General of Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
And he took me downtown to the AG headquarters building, where the Attorney General's office is, and people don't know this, but within the office, there are like special agents, not just bodyguards, but agents that investigate crime against children, crime against humanity, terroristic attacks, right? They're like the state level, but it's almost like FBI, but for the state.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool. And I'm walking through the office, and two things I saw that day that really just rocked me. The first thing is he showed me the press room where the Attorney General or the lead agent in charge will stand behind the podium to answer questions to the media about the case they may have just worked on.
Okay.
And he looked at me and said, "You want to stand over there?" And I said, "Yeah," because I imagine myself as a PIO, a public information officer, for a big law enforcement agency one day, like what I do here, but doing for a law enforcement agency.
Right.
You know? But then walking past that, I saw a picture of President Bill Clinton before he was even governor of Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
It's an older picture when he's Attorney General.
Okay.
In his early years.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's a picture. Well, but to see that moment and to say he worked in this building, he was like the president.
Right.
Walked the same hall that I've just walked.
Yeah.
And so, when 100 years from now, people are going to look back and they're going to still echo the name of Prince Wright.
Yeah.
But that's why starting this podcast was amazing, because it's the same concept.
Right.
They're about to echo the name of Ethan Hollins.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, they will, because the videos will outlive us.
True. Yeah. No, internet is forever.
Absolutely. Now it's AI. So.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and obviously, you've kind of touched on your passion for law enforcement.
Yeah.
And know that that's obviously super important to you. I kind of want to know what has been the best part for you about working with the local law enforcement here in town, or even just in the state?
Yeah, man. So, I'll tell you this. I'm having one of those moments of, is will Ethan reel me back in if I say this next? Ethan likes to reel me in if I'm kind of going too far. So like I was saying, as an African American man, I'm so privileged to get to do what I get to do, and I think I kind of debunked the whole narrative that I don't have the same opportunities that are afforded to our peer groups, to our Caucasian counterparts. I think if you have the mindset and you have the work ethic, you can do anything you want to do. Yeah. And to think, and it's true that 100 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to be in this spot and to do what I got to do. So to even work with our local county, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, for me, has really been a dream come true, right? Yeah. If you ask any of my friends or my family, I spend a lot of time watching police body cam videos and learning things about law enforcement, because for a long time I knew that's something I always wanted to do. Yeah. But I just never given my time to it, because I'd given my entire life to ministry. Right. And so one cool story I got to work on, there was a double homicide suspect. As a matter of fact, our local law enforcement had already planned a joint operation to do sting operations to hit 10 houses that were selling drugs here in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Yeah. And what I respect about Chief J.R. Kersey is that when I first interviewed him the night that he was appointed as chief by our city council, he said, "Prince, I'm going to be harder on crime, but I'm going to be harder on drugs." Mm-hmm. And he's kept his promise. Yeah. And he actually was going to invite me to go, in the Hellcat front row and just see everything. And I'm like, "Chief, call me." Yeah. But
you didn't get to break through the fence.
I didn't get to break through the fence. There was this really cool picture where there's a fence knocked down. Somebody was like, "What do you think will happen?" I said, you take 30, 40 married guys and their wives aren't there, they become big kids again. They wanted to break something, okay? But there was a double homicide suspect, Michael McNair Jr., who had brutally murdered a mother. I think she was 43 years old. Yeah. Shot her in the head and then shot her 9-year-old daughter, and then burned the house down there in St. Louis City. Yeah. Stole her car. Nut job wasn't smart enough to know that the car's not paid off. They can track it. Right. Well, the St. Louis City PD tracked his car down here to Southeast Missouri. They called our local police department and let them know, and immediately our boys hopped on it. And what was pretty cool is it went from just a double homicide suspect on the run in Southeast Missouri to when they're doing the sting operation on all these houses. One deputy sheriff from New Madrid County, who's not even a sheriff's deputy in our county, is on every single call, and come to find out, she was corrupt. She was helping the criminals.
Right.
You know, so it turns into that. But I remember the day when I was in St. Louis with my friend Hannah, me, her, and the boys. And I like to name the boys because they're going to watch a podcast. Isaac, August, and Ezra. Love you guys. So anyways, I'm there, and Chief calls me, and he goes, hey, are you sitting down? And I remember I'm standing in Hannah's room at this point, and I said, yeah, sure, what's going on, Chief? He said, we've got him. And I just remember, whoa! I let out the biggest scream, and the feeling of what I felt.
Yeah.
I've never felt that feeling before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to hear 40,000 people screaming. That's a cool feeling.
Yeah. Well, I remember, you know, even when you came back and we did the weekly wrap up, and you know that story was in it. You were on cloud 9 about that. So.
I was like, I want to do this, but it's those moments that helped me to realize you can do law enforcement.
Yeah.
You can do this. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So, maybe that's why you were put here, so you could find your true calling, man.
I think I was put here to serve people, and the older I've gotten, I found better ways of serving them.
Yeah.
I always tell people, if you see a problem with something, don't post on Facebook about it. Go put in an application. Right. I was reading Chief David Brown's book. He was the Dallas police chief when the mass shooting happened, where multiple cops were shot by a sniper. Mm-hmm. He was the first chief in U.S. history to use a C4 bomb to blow up the threat.
Okay.
And he could have lost everything then, but he took that chance so that none of his officers would be killed.
Right.
But he said back in the day, in the 80s, when he was joining in Dallas, he said he didn't complain about what was going on. He went to the precinct and put in an application.
Oh.
And I'm the same way.
Yeah.
If people feel that there's something wrong with cops, then guess what? When you see me wearing that badge, I'm a man of God. Yeah. I'm not corrupt. You know, I want to go make a difference. And so that's what I get to do now.
Yeah.
Going to do.
Right, going to do.
Speaking into existence.
There you
right?
go. There you go. So, I mean, you just kind of touched on it, you being a man of God. Yeah. And I know that you've already touched on it. You know, Bishop Webb is kind of like a father figure to you.
Yeah.
Can you kind of touch on your time with Mount Calvary Powerhouse and being accepted by that congregation and being taken in when you came here?
Absolutely. You know, I want to say this. You know, I know the world says Bishop Ron Webb a lot. Mm-hmm. They often overlooked the lady behind him. Well, I'm sorry, on his side.
Yep.
First Lady Georgia Webb. Actually, she's a doctor, Dr. Georgia Webb. I always say that behind every strong man is a greater woman, is a stronger woman. And she is a strong woman. And so, you know, I remember coming in, and I had come here a few years ago with Eddie James to preach, so I knew them a little bit. Yeah. And I remember coming in, and Bishop Webb, the community, they welcomed me in so well, and they gave me the mic to speak for just a moment. And I remember coming back to my seat, and First Lady Georgia crying, and she goes, "You're my son." And she gives me a hug and says, "Sit next to me."
Yep.
And so not only was I welcomed in, but you know, in the African American community, when you're a bishop, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's just a big deal because those are usually the individuals in our community that gives hope.
Yeah.
And so to be welcomed not just into the community, but to be welcomed into the family that leads the community was just such a blessing. But I've learned so many things just following Bishop and being with Bishop, and it's been just people have accepted me and they love me, and it's amazing.
It's a good feeling knowing that, you know, no matter what happens, you'll always have a place to land if you come back.
Yeah. When I first came back, I got on the phone. I called, like I said earlier, I called Bishop Dad. I said, "Hey, Dad," I said, "I think I'm supposed to come back to Poplar Bluff." He said, he didn't say welcome back. He said, "All right, son, come on home."
Yeah.
As if I was Tony or their oldest daughter, Jackie, coming home from college. He said, "Come home." And that's what I did.
Yeah.
Came home.
No, they're great people. So like I said, he's worked wonders for my family. So, all right. we've touched on, you know, where you're going, what you're going to do. We've also talked about your present and, you know, your venture into journalism. I'd like to touch just a little bit on your past. We've been working together for a little while now, and I have heard the phrase, "I used to work with Eddie James" at least 100 times. But I don't think we have ever gone into like a deep dive discussion on what it is that you did with Eddie James and his organization. Because I know that, you know, you've mentioned, you know, huge gospel singer, does shows all over the world and in Africa. What is it that you did inside of his organization, and how did it help kind of shape you into who you are today?
Yeah, so, you know, I'm someone, and I think you know this about me. Yeah. You know, like even this whole setup. This setup is all you, the view. You know, I firmly believe in giving honor where honor is due.
Yeah.
Right. And I have to say that man changed my life.
Yeah.
Right. Was it all perfect? No, but it's like a family. When you're together every single day.
Yeah.
For 5 years, literally not Monday off, Tuesday. No, like. We worked together every day, our team, for 5 years. There's going to be some tough moments, but in those tough moments, the love always screams louder, and the good memories. And yeah, man. So when he hired me years ago, actually, like I remember we met, and it was so crazy because I would watch him on television, and my brother went to a college where he was actually a professor. Many people don't know this about Eddie James. He actually holds 2 doctorate degrees.
Oh.
But he's really like Bishop. He wants to be very
down to earth,
low key. And so it's funny because years ago on New Year's night, my sister and I were singing one of his songs. You should have been there when I came through church, right? And then some years later, I'm on stage watching him because I was his at this time director of operations. We were in Tennessee. There's like 7,000 to 10,000 young people. It's New Year's night. Guess what he's singing? You should have been there. It was like this full circle moment. And my brother's in the audience at the same school that he went 2 years prior. So this moment was like, wow.
Yeah.
And so he hired me as his director of operations. And, you know, but I learned a lot working with him because, you know, I was telling Mr. Chris earlier, Ms. Barbara Horton, like, if, you know, they're talking about going into education. And I said, you know, if I would have went into education, I would have been more like Morgan Freeman in the movie Lean on Me.
Yeah.
Right? The hard guy who's tough love.
Right.
But the more that I got around this man, the more I realized it's not about being tough. It's simply about loving people. Loving them where they are until they get to where they need to be.
Right.
I never forget having a conversation with him as director of operations. And I just want to fire people. I mean, I was throwing the word fire around like Trump did when he was in The Apprentice. You're fired, you know, because I'm like, you know, you're not good for the business.
Yeah.
And that's and that was the problem.
Yeah.
I saw what he did as a business. And he said to me, and he was really stern, he said, that's your problem. Yeah. You see this as corporate when it's ministry.
Yeah.
He said, these aren't just numbers. These are people who are broken and that nobody else will give a chance to. So I'm going to give them a chance.
Yeah.
And as a young man who was ambitious and passionate, I really couldn't understand that thought process.
Yeah, couldn't wrap your head around it.
I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
The older I got, though. And then I remember a video of me service, he realized I could preach. He said, well, you're fired from being director of operations. And he asked me if I'll become shift director. And that was a faith season of my life because there was no set pay. It is, you're going to go wherever Eddie's team would go, I would go first.
Yeah.
And I would meet with pastors, networking, like you do with sales.
Right, yeah.
Meet with churches. I would preach. You know, sometimes they would pay me. One church paid me a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I cried. I said, God, you didn't tell me that I'll be getting paid with food.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But I'm having faith in God.
Yeah.
But that same month, I made $40,000. Right?
Yeah.
Pastor Eddie he taught me this. He said, never look for money, look for your gift because your wealth is in your gifting.
Yeah.
I made $40,000 and guess what the Lord puts in my heart to do?
What?
Give it all away.
Oh.
I said, come on, man. I'm in my early 20s.
Yeah.
$40,000. I'm a rich man. I've made it, you know?
Right, yeah.
But I gave every cent of it away.
Okay.
And I felt the Lord say to my heart, because I know the money doesn't have you, I will trust you with wealth.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm working towards. But I got to do that. I got to travel the world with him. I got to see South America. I got to see Europe. I got to see Africa. I mean, there would be moments he'd be on stage in front of 40, 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And he would say, every pastor in this room, you need to bring my son, Prince Wright, to preach. I call him Pops.
Yeah.
We all do. And he would pull me on stage in front of everybody. Yeah. And he would show me to the world. And so I talk about him, and you've heard his name over 100 times.
Yeah.
Because no matter how it ended, no matter how difficult that process was, here's what matters. He believed in me, and he saw me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about the people that made you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be who I am today without him or Bishop Runway.
Yeah. I'm curious, by the way. $40,000 is a lot. Which charity did you end up giving that to? Did you give it to?
I gave some to his charities, because he does have charities where, so people know him as a recording artist. What all of his wealth that he makes, he dumps 100% back into rescuing people who are youth and young adults, college-age students who are strung out on drugs.
Yeah.
There's been moments where we've been on tour, and we have a team together. He'll say, pull over, pick up those two guys. I'm like, we don't know these guys. They're literally, you can tell they haven't bathed in weeks. They're high on cocaine and fentanyl. He's like, I don't care, pick him up. And we'll pick him up, and so that's what he's about. So I gave some to his charities. Yeah. I gave some to some other charities. I just gave all the money away.
Yeah.
But my plan now is to, when I go home, is to buy a lot of real estate and to build wealth in that. But there's one thing I know, that my heart behind building wealth is not for me to be flashy. Yeah. It's so that I can have the resources to change other people's lives.
And help. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. All right. Let's say, so now we've kind of, covered your past. Yeah. We've kind of come full circle. There's one personal question I kind of wanted to ask you.
Okay.
What is it that you're looking forward to most about going home?
Outside of mom and the food and all that, I'm looking forward to working with my best friend, my brother, Pastor Jean Pedro. So Jean and I, it was me, Jean Pedro Willison, and then Jean Bruder. Brazil have a lot of Jones, which is really John in English for white people. And we were poor together, right? Yeah. He came from Brazil, barely spoke English, and he drove this little moped. And I just remember believing in him so much. And he was leading a small little youth small group within our church, and it grew to like 60 to 70 young people. People just drew to him, even parents. And I was like, it was like a David and Jonathan relationship. We had become one, Right. And it's hard. Those kind of friendships, I say, only come from God. Yeah. Only God can do that. Yeah. You can't force it. It has to happen. And but I would always say, I see you writing books. I see you standing before thousands. And he would say, I don't know, bro. And I would treat him as that while he was still in the food truck working. I treated him like he was already some big guy. Well, now he is, right? He became the young adult pastor for Legacy, which is the young adult group for our church, Lagoinha, which means Little Lake. Yeah. It started in Brazil over 50 years ago. Now there's over 900 locations globally, and we're at the global branch.
Jeez.
And so I get to go back. I get to help him. I get to work with him. And here's the funny thing. People don't know why I left home to travel and do what I did. Yeah. Me and him sat across from each other. And I said, Jean Pedro, I'm going to go. His name is Jean Pedro Boots. Yeah. I said, I'm going to go learn all that I can learn, gain all the knowledge that I can gain, so that I can come back and help you build something great. And so it's been about 6 years now almost. Yeah. I get to finally go back, and we get to come together.
Fulfill that promise.
We fulfill that promise, and we're like, bro, after this, we're not separating. Now he's married. Prayerfully, I'm going to find me a beautiful wife, home, a brasileira, Brazilian. And we're going to work together for the rest of our lives.
There you go.
Here
man.
And around the world.
It sounds like you've got it mapped out, man.
Oh, well, I think so.
That's awesome. As you know, we have two pretty important questions that we like to ask at the end of each one of our podcasts. With everything that you've seen and everything that you've covered here in Poplar Bluff, what would you say, from your point of view, is the biggest struggle facing Poplar Bluff at the moment?
Lack of vision.
Lack of vision?
Lack of vision. I don't think locals really understand just how valuable this geographical location is. Yep. not just valuable it is, how strategic it is. That when it comes to southeastern Missouri, Poplar Bluff is, if not the biggest, one of the biggest towns in the area. There is no way why boutique hotels shouldn't be going up downtown. There is no reason why we shouldn't be bringing in other industries.
Yeah.
I know sports is a big thing here. And hey, listen, I love sports, right? Sports and music has been two of the things that has broken racism over the years. Whether you go as far as from South Africa to here, right? That is great. However, we need to focus more on STEM, right, with the young people. I was writing an article just the other day from a young student who graduated from Neelyville. She received a $380,000 scholarship to a school in New York City to study neuroscience.
Okay.
And when she's doing her valedictorian speech, although it was a great accomplishment, my heart was really just hurt in a sense, because it's like she says, you know, I've dreamt of this moment, of this very moment, all of my life, and you could tell she was saying I was ready to get up and go.
Yeah.
And she said now she's on the way to New York City, and that is amazing.
Yeah.
I think she's going to do great. But what if we could build something here? And I keep saying we because I become family to the people here. But what if something here could be built where no one wants to leave?
Yeah.
If you give all of your attention and investment to pouring into sports, great. They make it to the NFL or MLB, NBA, great.
Yeah.
Is there an MLB team here?
No.
So everyone is leaving.
Yeah.
We need to find out ways. How do you bring industries here? I went to an economic forum that had Senator Jason Bean and then City Manager Nodell and so many other state leaders were there. Yeah. And they were talking about different things that communities in southeastern Missouri could thrive with. One of them was a data center. You know, there is a shortage of water all over America right now, but in Missouri alone, we have such a huge water reserve and natural water that comes out of the ground. Yeah. So, you know, so much that we could literally give to the rest of America. Well, with the data center just in Butler County, right? You could be looking at over $500 million a year coming in, plus thousands of jobs. And so all that to say is, I hope that at some point we will see younger people running for city council and the school board. Don't take away the sports, but I hope that the school system would put a greater emphasis on STEM, right? We need engineers, we need mathematicians, we need all of these things, right? And so that's what I would say needs to happen, and less small town politics, right? What can we do to make a difference in the change?
How can we get things moving forward?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay.
And if that doesn't happen, what I believe will happen at some point is this beautiful community will fall behind because somebody else will catch it. Somebody asked Michael Jackson one time, and I know I'm going over. They asked Michael Jackson. They said, Michael Jackson, why is it that when you get a new idea at 3 o'clock in the morning, you call us into the studio? Can't we wait until tomorrow? He said, no, because if God gave it to me at 3 o'clock in the morning and I don't move immediately, God will give it to Prince.
Give it to Prince,
Butler County, Poplar Bluff, has the opportunity not of just of a century, of a lifetime, to do something that could literally change the trajectory of this area, bring economic growth, social growth, if the leaders of this community puts their brains together, gets rid of the small town politics, and get to moving. I should run for office one of these days.
Hey, we came up with that slogan. Why not Poplar Bluff?
Why not Poplar Bluff?
Absolutely.
Maybe you should run for office, Ethan.
I don't know about that, man. So I don't know if I got the stomach for politics. Say we do have the inverse of that question, you know, where we're talking about what struggles face Poplar Bluff.
Yes.
What's one thing about Poplar Bluff that makes you hopeful?
The people. The people in Poplar Bluff are phenomenal people. They're hospitable, they're kind, they're welcoming. And here's what I will say, because based on what I said prior to this, and I do not digress, but what I will say is that was a small group of people right? Who I call the key holders that I was speaking of.
Yeah.
But there are those key holders, people like Chief, who are doing a phenomenal job, right? Last time I checked, he was short 7 police officers.
Yeah.
Yet they're still showing up. They show up for the community, the fire department. You saw when the fire happened how 4 businesses, Subway on North Westwood Boulevard.
Yep.
You had
Heartland Express.
Heartland Express. You had Citrus Fire Grill, and you had is it Brick Oven? Godfather's Pizza.
Yep, Godfather's
right?
Pizza.
With Mike and Dennis. Those guys came together. Also, you had Costello's with Todd.
Yep.
Todd
Tinsley.
Tinsley, right? They came together, and I called a few of them, and the guy from the radio station called the others, and they didn't say, pay us this much. They immediately said, what can we do?
Right.
So this is a community that if you want to grow, even speaking to the young African American who believes that he or she has no opportunity, no. If you have a dream and you want to grow, there are people like Todd Tinsley and Dennis and Mike and Bishop Webb and the DER. There are people that, Heather, who's the new GM.
Yeah.
There are people that want to see you win.
Yeah.
And that is what's beautiful about Poplar Bluff, Missouri.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, I think that's about all the time that we have.
Before you do close,
Tell
the people. Tell the people.
So
let them know.
Prince is leaving. He is obviously heading down to Florida to pursue his dreams of law enforcement. Going forward, I will be you all's host. I will be here, every other week, bringing you different interviews from different people around town. And I'm going to try and be a straight shooter. I'm going to make sure that you guys know everything that you need to know, and I'm going to make sure that you're informed. So I appreciate, you advocating for me to be the person to take
Absolutely.
over that spot.
And not only that, but you got to also tell the people that you are a brother.
Oh, yeah, your favorite fun fact about me.
I have 2 fun facts about you. Number 1, you became the #1 flag catcher in Call of Duty in the world.
Yeah, I was.
You were world famous for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about world famous.
Oh, well, #1 in the world, pal. Within the gaming world, they knew your name. And number 2, you're a brother.
I am African American. Yeah.
African. Even as you say that, I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's Prince's favorite thing to do when we have a guest come on. He's like, hey, you know that guy's black.
He's a black guy. He's a brother.
So, but yeah, man. Like I said, from everybody here at the Daily American Republic, we're gonna miss you, man. We've loved our time with you, and I've personally have had a great time working with you, getting all this going. It's been, a little tough at times to, get scheduling and stuff like that worked out mostly. But other than that, it's been a blast working with you, and it's been a true pleasure, a true honor getting to work with you, man.
You also kept the podcast from not turning into a political podcast because I would get a little bit fiery, and you're like, hey, Prince, calm down.
So I've got to be Donna's echoing voice in your head. Editorial. So,
well, thanks for having me.
But no problem, man. Like I said, and when you come back, when you come back and visit, we'll have to sit down and do some more, questions and stuff.
I'll be a guest, and hopefully I'll be a sheriff's deputy at that time.
Yeah. You can kind of give us the lowdown on, Florida law enforcement.
Yeah. Well, now I think they changed the speed limit to 80 miles per hour on the highway.
Oh, geez. Okay.
But listen, 60 miles per hour is just killing me over here, brother.
Yeah, 65.
I got somewhere to be.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. Like I said, we're gonna miss you, man.
Good
luck. You're gonna do great things, and we're all excited to see where you go. But yeah, no. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily American Republic podcast. I will see you here pretty soon. Thank you, and good night.